2, 1. From Boston, Massachusetts to Adelaide, Australia, and everywhere in between, talking local and national sports and just about anything discussed in a tavern. Broadcasting from South Lyon, Michigan. Welcome to Easy Speak at Speakeasy 330 with your hosts, Rich and Tom.
We are back.
Woo!
Yes.
What a day today.
Woo.
Yeah,
Yes.
so let everybody know we had just gotten back from the ball field. My youngest son, Ryan, his 10U team, battled valiantly today in the two games they played, both winning in walk-off fashion.
Yes. Nice. It was nice to be there. Nice to witness that.
It was a lot of fun. You can tell, you got to reiterate to the kids every inning counts. So you got to keep working. And so it was nice. They won it on it was actually a pass ball. The guy from third managed to get home, won the game, bring home some hardware.
It was it was interesting being there because we had a listener or a viewer, whatever you are. I sit down next to Rich, and the guy says, "Hey, Rich, is that your co-host?"
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, "I've been watching you on the Facebook Live." I'm like,
Yeah.
well, we're glad to have you.
Yeah. No. And Jay's a super good dude. He's a hell of a guy to have in your stands. Nothing but a true sportsman when it comes to the game of baseball. He also is very what the fuck.
It's amazing.
It's amazing some of the comments that come up on this thing that we don't show anybody.
Some of the viewers that come across the screen,
and that came from Twitch. And
yeah.
Right now it doesn't show anybody on there from Twitch. But you know what? We're gonna ignore it. We're gonna move on. So we did not have a show on Wednesday because you went on Wednesday to get your second dose of the Pfizer. I went on Thursday to get my second dose of the Pfizer, and yeah, it's just absolutely crazy.
We'll just say that second shot kicked my butt. Kicked my butt.
Yeah, it definitely put me out of sorts. Not on the second day, but it was the third day. Friday I was extremely tired and sore and achy, almost like you had the flu.
Yeah.
And then Saturday morning I woke up and I almost felt like I was in the Twilight Zone.
Real quick, Mr. Churches, how you doing? I see you checked in.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff. How you doing? Hope all's well.
So I got it Wednesday, felt a little disconnected throughout the day. By 1:00, which would be Thursday morning, I woke up in I don't know what you call a flop sweat, and I was freezing cold, and I knew I was in for a rough day. So basically, from what I understand, those who have had COVID get affected by the second dose. Needless to say, I did, and I was. So it lasted for about 24 hours. And by the end of the day, Thursday, I was good to go. And then kind of gave Rich the warning, like, hey, be prepared. You might be in for a treat. And but it didn't hit him as hard, fortunately.
No, it wasn't. I didn't, there was no fever. There was nothing like that. But I've heard of multiple people within the last time frame that we have gone and got the second shot. Some people, it really didn't do much. It just made them extremely tired and they wanted to sleep. And then there was some cases where they were like, I got a fever. I'm sweating my ass off. I'm shaking. I'm hurting, everything like that. Yeah. And here's another one right here is my buddy Aaron gets on here and says that about 18 hours after his second shot, he had a little headache and body ache. A little nap and a Tylenol did wonders. Yeah, you're exactly right. Because I took when I got up Friday morning, because I was like, I'm going to try to go to work. I'm going to push through. I got up a little bit after 4, and I had like the most pounding headache possible.
Well, I seen you were on Facebook about 11.
Yeah, and it was Pfizer as well. So so Pfizer was our doses as well, and But I mean, it's one of those things, say what you want. We're not going to sit here and tell you to go out and get a vaccine and it's going to be the next best thing to slice bread. Hey, it's your life. It's your choice. You do as you want to do. It's your body. We're not going to tell you otherwise. So what I'm not going to promote it. I'm not going to downplay it, but
it's your choice to do whatever you'd like. Given the opportunity to do it again, I would, just because I just feel it's the right thing to do. If you don't want to get it, we have friends that are absolutely against it.
Yeah.
And God bless them.
Hey,
it doesn't change the way I feel about them or I think about them. It's just, that's one of the great things about being an American. We have the right to choose, and we chose to do so. Others don't, but hopefully this thing gets a little bit better, and we can all get out and about a little bit more very soon.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the main key, is just being able to, get a little bit of normalcy going on in life. My son, he falls into that category in the state of Michigan where he has to go and get weekly tests for baseball.
That's a tough one.
But that we found a place locally that they will do the rapid saliva test. So
that's good.
So he's not having to go through.
He's not getting his brain
he had
tickled.
He had it once, and he's like, if I got it, it's pretty much, if I have to do this every week to play baseball, I don't think I'm going to play. But, we found a place locally.
Good.
And Aaron, I don't know if if you got to go and take Holden or anything like that, but up at Legacy, they do the test. I think you can sign up. You can even make an appointment. It's just a drive through.
Oh, that's good. That's
good.
We did see the tent there, so it's cool.
And what was cool about that is like at no cost to parents. It's no cost to Legacy. There's no cost to Legacy. What it is it's actually covered under the COVID relief bill.
Oh, okay.
And a company came and said, hey, we'll set up and we'll run it from certain times, and it works out good. And the spit test is nothing for kids.
Right. But it's less invasive.
Yeah.
So the faster we can get rid of this fucking virus, excuse my language, we can get back to normalcy, like watching the Detroit Tigers.
Well, do we really want to go and watch the Detroit Tigers right now? Let's be. They start off like fire, and everybody was on the Badu craze.
The Badu.
And it's funny because the OC show, those guys were like, that card has gone through the roof just based on what he's done
the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, and if I had a bunch of those cards, I would have
dumping them.
I would have sold. Yeah. I would have sold them off as fast as I could. But
we saw a picture on Twitter. It was from the
Sports Show Jim. I think.
Yeah, it might have been Ketchup Jim. It was from what was it, from Scooby Doo? Yeah. It's like they were lifting the mask off. Is like, who are you? And the bottom picture was Chris Shelton.
Red Pop.
Yeah, Red Pop. So that is absolutely picture perfect, because right now he's in a bit of a slump, as well as the whole team. They can't hit the broadside of a barn right now. The pitching, when the pitching is on, the offense is off. When the offense is on, the bullpen sucks. Right now, they're out of sorts. But the question that I have is it time to say it is what it is? Let's bring up these young guys. Let's bring up Riley Green. Let's bring up some of these young kids that are gonna be the future of this team, that probably could be better suited facing major league pitching rather than down in Toledo. Or on the what do you call that? The travel, or what is that? The taxi squad.
But yeah, I mean, it's just I don't think that Riley Green should have been left off the opening roster to begin with. I mean, you got to play him. Yeah, I mean, you have to bring some of those guys up and just let them play.
There's no reason. I mean, you've got nothing to play for at this point.
Zero.
You're gonna finish dead last, probably in the division, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You have enough young talent that you're gonna build around. So now's the time to get them the experience in, as Jim Price would say, the tall buildings.
Yeah, exactly.
Get them up here, see what they can do, see what they're made of, and then next year start the season with a little bit more hope and promise.
Yeah, and I agree with you on everything that you said with that, because you might as well get them up and get them facing the major league pitchers.
Yeah.
Let them get in there and find out bad with some green. But they did go to Houston and they swept Houston.
They blew their wad in Houston, and they haven't been able to recover ever since.
No,
Must have been pretty good down there in Houston with no masks.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of packing the houses, UFC last night.
Ooh.
We saw some pretty gruesome things last night. Very gruesome. Chris Weidman, I hope he makes a full recovery, but
well, it started with the fight, the Anthony Smith fight in front of him when Anthony Smith used his foot and separated his tibia from his fibia.
Is that what it was?
I haven't heard the official, but
holy smokes.
The bottom half of his leg, I don't think was connected to the knee after that kick. He tried to walk on it, but usually when the lower half of the leg goes the wrong way, it's not good. But I give that dude credit. He didn't want to give up. He didn't want to stop. Nope. They had to call it, and we were sitting here in the speakeasy like ready to vomit. I think the boom baba scene from Stand By Me with all the throw up, that was about to happen.
Well, it was like it's hard to explain, but it was like it's like everything from his knee down just was like it prolapsed. It was terrible.
It spun the wrong way.
Yeah, it was gross. And then Chris Weidman, he went to go check he go to fire that kick. He got checked, and then next thing you know, the same thing that happened to Anderson Silva against Chris Weidman.
Yeah, well, against Uriah Hall.
Uriah Hall.
Yeah, I mean his what has he got? Titanium bones.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But the shocker of the night.
Well, no, didn't Anderson Silva? Didn't he?
He kicked somebody.
It was Chris Weidman, I believe.
No, it was Uriah Hall.
All right, I'll have to double check that.
But to me, the shocker of the night was Wei Lee getting knocked out by the thug Rose.
Oh my Lord! Yeah,
that leg come out of nowhere and dropped her. Just dropped her.
I mean, she is she's a badass.
Oh yeah,
she is a badass.
You looking at her, you think, what's her specialty? She's not very big, but that leg came up and hit Wiley in the right jaw and dropped her. And she went down and Rose jumped on her. And of course, they called the fight, which was the right. It was
right against
call.
Weidman. It was against Weidman.
Was the right call, but she popped back up and she kind of threw a fit about them calling it. But I mean, she kind of had a beef, but
she I mean, she didn't know where she was at. She didn't know if she was on planet Earth.
But when you drop like that, you come unconscious for that split second and you're not putting up a fight. They got to do the right thing. And the UFC has been great about protecting, if you want to call it protecting, their fighters. When it's time to call it, they've been jumping in. But
and then Game Bread got his he got served a nice one.
Oh, Masvidal was talking, he was chirping, and 3-4 seconds before the hit, he was smiling like, oh yeah, and then
he took a hit and he just was kind of like, yeah, and the next thing you know,
he's like,
it's
and then
it's like nap time.
Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Bye.
Good night, Irene. He was definitely
Usman, who is not known for, and it's funny because they were talking most of that round about how he's inexperienced as a striker, and what did he do? He struck the shit out of him with a left. I mean, his head snapped back and he was unconscious before he hit the canvas.
He was done. So,
and you have Singano in his corner. Those Africans are some bad dudes.
Oh yeah.
Right now, nobody can touch them.
No,
nobody can touch them. So it was a great night of UFC. It was awesome to see the fans, even though I'm sure it was sorry, Bill. It was probably a super spreader event, but it was really cool to hear the excitement from the fans when there was a big punch thrown. And
however, I do miss that sound of leather smacking somebody's face.
Yeah, you can hear that, but you can't replace those fans. When big punches connected and
I missed the
it was pretty cool to hear. Actually, somebody tweeted in during the the first fight, which was crazy in the prelims, that you just don't realize what an impact the fans and hearing those fans, going crazy and what it does to the fight. It makes it more entertaining to watch. Mr. Matt Cowan, what's up, my friend? How are you, sir?
But I'm like in the fighters, they feed off that.
Oh,
very
sure.
well,
I think it does. And I think that happened with the Thug Rose, where they were really jumping on her back. Like, come on, USA champ, which, it is what it is. But I think it fueled her. Going into that fight, Wei Li she's a bad woman. And and it really what her last fight, that Joanna, she come out looking like she needed to get her forehead drained.
She looked like Frankenstein.
Yeah. Oh,
she looked like all she was missing was the two the two nubs right here.
She looked like I'm gonna go way back, and you probably won't know. She looked like the security guard from Jabba's palace from Return of the Jedi, the guy with the big old forehead.
Well, I don't ever watch those movies, so I can't really tell you.
I'm speaking Greek to you on that one.
You're exactly right.
But it is what it is.
And then, oh man, the other fight that I really enjoyed was
Svechnikov. The other woman, she put on a clinic.
Yeah, there's nobody stopping her right
Jessica
now.
Andrade, she's a bad female.
Yeah, well,
and she made her look like chopped liver.
Yeah, it was like she was nothing.
She put her out in second round, which, I mean, it probably could have gone early, halfway through the first, but she hung on as long as she could. But yeah, she's that Russian is. So you have three champs basically who there's not much competition in the female ranks.
No. I mean, Nunez. I mean, she might as well just go start fighting dudes. I'll be honest with you.
And I would bet her against some of the guys that are in that.
I'd let her go fight 135. I'd let her fight the bantamweight guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be a nice pay-per-view. Let her fight fucking Logan Paul or Jake Paul. Let him fight Jake Paul, who.
Hey, and let him. You know what? And he might go to MMA if he's going to fight a chick, and I guarantee she would mop the fucking floor with her.
Oh, no doubt about it.
So cool. So anyway, we're going to move on because we do have a special guest that's here today with us. He's coming on to talk Lions with us, and it's our friend Dave Birkett from the Detroit Free Press, or the Freep as they call it. So let's welcome to the show. Hey, Dave, how you doing, bud?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Pretty good. Hey, I didn't see you Friday. I'm getting kind of lonely standing in a line by myself.
Man, draft time. Not much I can do these days. So yeah.
Well, let me tell you, you missed out on a good week this week because I was able to get a box of Select and a Prism hanger. So
nice.
And then you go online and look, and you probably see some of the same guys that picked those ones up before me, and they have them on eBay going for $150 a hit. So
yeah.
I'll take the retail. So
it's been a few weeks since I saw you up there. So one of these days I'll be back.
I missed last week, and I got back there this week, and it kind of worked out. We talked a little bit earlier in the show. We were kind of battling some COVID vaccine blues. So I was off Friday and mustered a shower and went up there and dredged the line. So, and it's the same people sitting up there with their folding chairs out and, living the dream of collecting Pokemon cards.
Unbelievable.
So anyway, this is Tom that's next to me. So Tom, this is Dave.
Dave, how are you?
How you been, Tom?
Doing great. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, you got it, man. Happy to do it.
So we got some questions here because you're a little more in tune with this and just kind of more of an opinionated base. But besides the fact that the Lions need everything on their team. I mean, I'm talking everything. But to you, what would be your biggest need that the Lions need to go after with that first pick?
No, you're right, and I think that's why I've sort of called it a positionless draft, because it doesn't matter what position they take. They don't have to target one. They can just they need help there, and long-term help there, and short-term help there, and everything. So, but look, number 7. I mean, I would probably look to draft a quarterback if I was running a team. I don't think the Lions are going to do that. So just what I do think the Lions are sort of looking at here. If 4 quarterbacks go in the top 4 picks, they should get one of the big three, I guess, non-quarterbacks, and that's Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts, Penei Sewell. I think those three, it's not universal. And I think Pitts and Chase are maybe valued a little bit higher across the board than Sewell. There you could find some scouts, and I know some scouts that like Rashawn Slater better. But I think one of those three would be there at 7 if 4 quarterbacks go. If 4 quarterbacks don't go, if it's only 3, that's when maybe things get a little tricky. So that's when, if those other 3 guys are gone, who do the Lions take? Is it Rashawn Slater? Do they maybe consider defense? Do they take another receiver? That's when maybe you're not dropping down a tier of prospect necessarily, but you're maybe not getting one of the most coveted guys. So those are the sort of scenarios that I see playing out. And then ultimately, that trade down, I think we may have talked about this before, like if they could, maybe the best thing for the franchise is trading down and acquiring more draft capital, but you don't want to pass on being able to get an elite player at number 7 either.
Yeah. What do you, my personal opinion is I know it's not a sexy pick, but I'm a man that believes that the game is won at the trenches. And I think I forgot who that was. I think John Jansen is a big fan of that as well. Yeah, taking an offensive lineman at number 7 is just, it's not sexy for fans, I guess. So, Jamar Chase is but I think Jamar Chase he's going to be gone. I don't think he's going to go. I don't think he's going to get past the Bengals if the Bengals don't take Sewell.
But you say not sexy, but if you say, throw a Slater or a Sewell on that offensive line that they have now, with the running game and with a quarterback that needs protection, that might be the best fit for them.
Yeah.
Well, look, gave them Sewell in my last mock draft. So, you're preaching to the choir here that I think that would be a great pick for them. I think when you look at, how the coaching staff wants to play football, he would fit. And I think, the most important thing is getting really good players or building really strong units. Like I think that can really help a team, get to the playoffs, make some noise in the playoffs. And the Lions would have the makings of a strong offensive line with Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow and Sewell, who a lot of people think is, has the traits to be a really elite tackle. So I think that would be a great pick for the Lions. I think he's a top, flight talent. And I don't think there would be a ton on his shoulders right away because he would be playing with some pretty good other, linemen, and he wouldn't have to play left tackle and protect the blind side right away. So I think Sewell would be a great pick. The one thing on Chase, I guess how he gets there is 4 quarterbacks go in the top 4 and the Bengals take Sewell, then, it's the Dolphins. Who do they take, right? Is that Chase? Is that Pitts? And then that's where the Lions are left with the remaining skill player.
Do you worry maybe with Sewell since he's only really got 1 year of experience at the college level? Do you think?
I don't think so. I've talked to enough people. Look, he was essentially a 2-year starter, right? He came in right away at left tackle as a rookie, true freshman. Played, I should said rookie, but true freshman, and he was 17 years old when he first stepped on the field in college. His 21st birthday isn't until October, so he sat out last year. But look at the top 10, right? He opted out. Jamar Chase opted out. Rashawn Slater opted out, right? Trey Lance played 1 game, so there's a lot of opt-outs. So it's not ideal, but it's sort of the hand that a lot of people in this draft class have been dealt. And if you're the Lions, again, you're not plopping him in there at tackle and asking him to protect Jared Goff's blindside 40 passes a game, right? He's right tackle right off the bat, maybe even right guard, probably right tackle, but you're going to be an offense that, you want to run the ball a lot. So he's going to be, he's going to have 25, 30, pass sets a game in theory. And so I don't think that's too much for a talent like that to take. He's young enough that, you can see him being a 10-year starter for you.
Yeah, I can. He's not a sexy pick, I'll tell you that, but that'd be the guy I would take,
He's a right pick.
Because everybody thinks draft, I'm going to go after him like the quarterback, or I'm going to go wide receiver, or you're going to try. But really, after the top 4, you could pretty much put a bunch of player pictures on a dartboard and toss them at there and probably be okay with one of them, the rest of the top.
Yeah, no, again, Trevor Lawrence is sort of in a class by himself, right? And, I think a lot of people in the NFL think Zach Wilson is sort of the number 2 there. Just, as a quarterback, that position. But, Kyle Pitts is the best non-quarterback. Most people in the NFL will tell you that. And I think Jamar Chase, I think a lot of people really like him too. He's sort of, he's ahead of those other receivers, even though they're sort of in that same blue chip, group. But look, the most important thing, and this is what people don't realize all the time, is when everybody wants to trade down. And believe me, I think there's a whole lot of merit to doing that. But again, you have to have really good players in this draft. Someone had, when Brad Holmes had talked about trading, down and having no floor to how far he would go the other day, I tweeted just sort of half jokingly, like, all right, somebody make them the Julio Jones offer. And somebody tweeted me back and said, I'd rather have Julio Jones. And they're exactly right. Like, you got Julio Jones, or you get, 3 or 4 just players who turn out to be mediocre. So give me the star every time. I'm a big believer in that blue chip talent, or like I said, building really elite units.
So do you, I think Brad Holmes touched on it a little bit in his press conference. They were talking about what kind of guys that they look for. Are they looking for certain talent or guys that fit the culture? And, what is your thought on that? Do you think that, the culture is going to play, if they're going to adapt to the culture that they're trying to build? Does that make sense to maybe go after a guy, maybe not if you got a couple of different choices at that 7th pick, are you going to, what if Jamar Chase is not a guy that would fit their culture that they're trying to do? Or, maybe it is Sewell, or if it's even, what's his name? Waddle.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, I think especially the stage of the rebuild that they're at again, like that, you have to get the right people in place, right? In free agency, I sort of compared it to like the Kyle Vandenbosch, Nate Burleson thing, where you wanted, the right guys to help bring this locker room along. Well, you want the right young guys to be a part of this thing going forward for, again, minimum, right, 4 years, 5 years, but probably number 7, you're thinking that guy's going to be a 10-year player for you. So, Chase is, you hope, right? And look, Chase, Pitts, those guys get, pretty high character marks. Sewell, I think the one, question with him was just some immaturity, just in terms of work habits or whatnot. So I do think that's something that the Lions would have to drill down on. But again, when you look at, you're talking about a 17 or 18-year-old for the most part when he was at Oregon. So, those are some things that I think when you're surrounded by the right people and you don't have big character flags, off the field, that those are things that maybe you feel comfortable with. Those Alabama players, I mean, they played this year. They played through injuries, or tried to at least. I think, both those guys would fit. The one thing I did do, I on fruit.com, I put out my, sort of 5 draft fits for the Lions, right? And I didn't put Pitts and I didn't put Chase in there, but I put 5 players that I thought, would realistically be there at 7. And, I put 1 defensive player on. And for a long time, I was sort of the belief that Micah Parsons was going to be the first defensive player taken, and maybe the Lions could be in the mix for him. I changed it up and I put Patrick Surtain in there as the sort of the 1 defensive player, just because I thought he was more of that fit that Brad talked about than Micah Parsons.
I brought that up on our show last week, and I said I felt like Patrick Surtain Jr. was a player that would go high and would have a good ceiling. And I got a little bit of a brushback.
I gave him shit for it, Dave.
No, I mean, you're right. Look, I think I did, with Mike and Rico's a big cornerback guy, and he had asked me, he was maybe asking about J.C. Horn, and I didn't really buy it there. I hadn't heard anyone connecting the dots with a cornerback with the Lions. But after hearing, Brad talk and just kind of, having done my homework on some of these prospects and talked to people around the league about them, and looking at the Lions, the lack of depth, I guess they have in the secondary there too. Like, Surtain would fit. And if you had Surtain and Okudah, and if those guys both came close to their potential, I mean, you look at this staff, Aaron Glenn, and, kind of what they want to do defensively, I guess, right? Aubrey Pleasant, their defensive backs coach, good young teachers of defensive backs. Again, I think 7's a little rich there. I think those other guys are probably ahead of the defensive players on most teams' boards. But, Surtain would be a guy that I could see fit for the Lions.
Hey, real quick, we got a question that came in off our Facebook feed here. Somebody's asked, do you think Okudah can take a big step forward? Would it be a huge disappointment if he doesn't?
Definitely a huge disappointment if he doesn't. I think, I do think he can. I expect he's going to take a step forward this year. I mean, look, as Rod Wood said, he's been energized a little bit by the coaching staff. Again, I think, the coaches that they have in place, Aaron Glenn and Aubrey Pleasant, like those guys are known as good teachers and being good for the secondaries. You look at what Aubrey did with the Rams, right? Yeah. And granted, they had some top line talent with Jalen Ramsey, but also the young guys, the John Johnsons who developed, and the young slot cornerback that they have that was a restricted free agent this year. His name's slipping my mind right now, but regardless, they were able to develop talents. And Okudah, he's got a load of talent. So, I would be disappointed if he didn't reach it. And I think the Lions would too.
Yeah, I think he's got a huge upside. And I just think that last year I think last year it was kind of a wash given the situation there.
He was hurt a little bit too. We'll see, right? Maybe it wasn't the right, fit for him mentally, whatever it was. It just didn't work out. But if he doesn't, take a big step forward this year, I think there'll be a lot of people disappointed.
And you hear, this offseason that he might have not been set up in the right system last year with, the old regime, call it.
It's the old regime.
But like you said, Aaron Glenn, and when they announced him the defensive coordinator, I was excited because here's a guy, fairly recently played in the league, who I think a lot of players look up to former players. Like they've been there, they've done that, and they respect that. And they can kind of relate to them in a sense. So I felt like maybe Okudah would be a player that could reap the benefits of having a coach like that.
No, absolutely. And, that whole secondary, when I was doing my defensive backs preview, I sort of wrote that, right? Like you look at all their starters, save the nickel spot, I guess that's probably Cornelder, but they're 2 starting outside cornerbacks or 2 starting safeties right now, all first-year contract guys. So, these are still young in their development players that guys like, Aaron Glenn and Aubrey Pleasant, should be able to mold a little bit. They're still pieces of clay in some, ways. And Okudah especially, he's a young guy. Tracy Walker even, right? You think like Walker had a pretty good year 2 years ago, and he was playing out of position last year. And the level that he came from, I think there's still some growth there with him. So I don't think the Lions have a great secondary by any means for 2021, but I do think they're young enough that you should be able to see that group, improve as the season goes on.
Yeah, I think the progression of the backs is going to be a lot better than previous years. That's for sure. And I'm with you. I think it's going to be a learning experience for a lot of those guys that they currently have. And I think I'm a believer that there's going to be a turnaround in that. Hopefully. I got my fingers crossed.
So if they do trade down, which, like you, I've been a very big proponent of, do you see like some of the teams, who do you think some of the teams could possibly be in the mix? Maybe a New England, and at maybe 12 to 15, say they do drop down to that level. Who would you be targeting? Would Micah Parsons be somebody that you would definitely like to go for at that position?
Look, I think, there's risk in dropping down too far because then you're missing out on that. If you're dropping down from 7, it means one of 2 things, right? It means that, certainly it could mean that you just get an offer that's too good to pass up. But either you missed out on that group of players that you really wanted, right? Maybe it's that 3 and none of those 3 are there. Only 3 quarterbacks go. Or maybe you feel comfortable with whatever group, that you think is still going to be there at a 10 or a 12 or wherever it is. And to me, that group is probably those other Alabama receivers, even though a lot of, I've talked about the positional value of receiver that high, but those guys are both, pretty elite talents. Oh, yeah. Maybe it's the 2 cornerbacks, Surtain and Horn. Like, I just don't, Parsons is a really good player. Obviously he had some character questions. I just don't know that how teams are going to be able to sort through all of those with just a couple, 1-hour Zoom sessions that they get. So I think there's a few other players, the Slater, Waddle, Smith, and the 2 cornerbacks that to me at least, feel like safer prospects, still positions of need, still really good players that I would probably put ahead of Micah Parsons.
Going back to your original statement about picking a quarterback, that what you would pick. Who would you pick at 7 if they were to pick a quarterback?
Yeah. Look, I'm a quarterback guy. I don't hide that, right? I was sort of, on that bandwagon last year. No, I just, think when when you're rebuilding, you need one. And if you don't have one, you're always going to be looking for one. And, what better time to get one than, who knows when you're picking this high again, right? That was part of my argument last year. Like, when are you going to have the number 3 pick again? Take one of those guys. Same thing with number 7, right? Like, if the Lions win 6 games and they're picking 12 next year, like, I don't know, you're just not going to get the same caliber of quarterback. So the caveat being, of course, that you really believe in that quarterback. And we all know, right? Trevor Lawrence is gone. Zach Wilson is gone. Mac Jones is probably gone, number 3. I believe in Trey Lance. I know he's a lottery ticket in a lot of ways. But I think if you believe in your staff, if you have the right plan in place, he's not going to play, this fall. Shouldn't play at all. He's a developmental guy, but he has really intriguing, traits and talent that I would have no problem taking Trey Lance in the top 10, having the comfort to know that I would be able to develop him.
I'm just glad
Justin Fields. Yeah, look, I think Justin Fields too, but the one concern there is obviously the medical. Now that the report came out about him dealing with epilepsy. So
epilepsy, yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't shy away from either of those guys, but the Fields thing, I would definitely need more on the medical to say I felt comfortable with that.
I do like Trey Lance's story. He's kind of been told you're not good enough. You're not good enough. And he, what he did in college, although it wasn't Division I, but he lost 1 game in his college career. So he's always shown people that he can do it. And I like that. I like that underdog mentality. I think that really equates good in the NFL.
I mean, he's, again, very raw, 17 starts in all, obviously at the 1AA level, which is a concern. And accuracy, I know people have talked about that with quarterbacks before, right? I mean, that was a big thing with Matthew Stafford 12 years ago or whatever it was. How accurate of a passer is he going to be? So I don't think he's a lock by any means. And, again, when I asked Brad Holmes that question Friday, with a purpose, right? Like, what is your appetite for risk? And, I don't know that in his first draft as general manager with this blank canvas in front of him that he wants to blow a pick. I don't, on a quarterback, and I say that, being that it doesn't work out, right? I don't know that he wants to look back and say, oh, I blew a pick on a quarterback that didn't work out. So, but for me, I would, and my job doesn't, ride on the outcome of it. So I fully understand that, right? I can mock him a quarterback again next year and no one would think anything of it. But I would have no problem taking Trey Lance at number 7.
Hey, Brad Holmes, get a set because that didn't stop Matt Millen.
well, I think one good thing Brad Holmes has in his corner is John Dorsey, and he's definitely not afraid to take a quarterback.
Yeah,
he's proven that in 2 different spots.
Yeah,
I think you look at all of the quarterbacks that those, the Chiefs in the front office have been a part of, right? Those regimes. John Dorsey obviously took Baker Mayfield in Cleveland, and he took Patrick Mahomes straight up for Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. Brad Holmes and Ray Agnew were in with the Rams when they, drafted Jared Goff number 1. All of those guys sat for a large part of their rookie year. Baker, I don't know, it was week 4 or something that he came in because Tyrod Taylor got hurt, but Patrick Mahomes barely played. Jared Goff played half a season. So they all are of the belief, or their actions at least show that they're of the belief that, that you need to, that it's okay to take that quarterback and let him sit and let him develop. And so I don't think Trey Lance's raw tools are quite on the level of Patrick Mahomes, but I don't think it's that far fetched to say that he has some pretty special traits that maybe could develop into being a really good quarterback.
Cool. All right, Dave. Well, we're not going to take up much more of your time. I know it's Sunday, and I know you got to get the kids ready for school tomorrow.
You should probably see him running around behind me over there.
I see running up and down the stairs. Hey, did you have any baseball this weekend?
We got a game Monday. That's our next game. We were off this week. We just had a couple practice. We started 2 weeks ago. My son started 2 weeks ago. Got the pitching inning. He's 6. They're playing in an 8 and under league, so he's a little young. But they tied. I think it was 5-5 was the final score. And then awesome. They're back at it next week. 3 games this week. I'm gonna have to miss one of them for the draft. I think they play Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so miss one of them. But we'll be back at it soon.
That's cool, Dave. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate you taking the time, and hopefully we can get together again and maybe chat after the draft to see how it all panned out for us.
Yeah, you got it. Sounds good, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, man. You have a good one, Dave. Take care.
You too. We'll see you.
Yeah. Bye. Cool.
Well, if there's somebody that is in the know when it comes to the Detroit Lions,
Oh, for sure,
and kind of an inside view, we'll say, of what they do need.
Yeah, it's Dave.
But I will tell you this: when he mentioned Surtain, I got a little excited.
You got a little chubby.
Yeah, because this guy over here was kind of giving me some shit. So was the Giant. The Giant was giving me some shit about it, but I like the fact that his father was pretty damn good NFL player.
Yeah, no,
and
I'm not discrediting it. I just didn't think that would be my pick at 7.
And
well, here's the thing: it depends on who's still available.
True.
And I'm not going to say if there's a Jamar Chase, if there's a I'm not even going to say Jalen Waddle because I don't think he's worth a 7, but. If there's a Sewell there and stuff like that, I'm not going to pass up on one of those two guys.
There's too many other players that could be there,
but we do have issues in the back in the backfield of the quarterbacks.
And to me, I looked at the fact that if you could get another young corner and you flip them on the other side with Okudah, which I really do think Okudah is going to have a bounce back year with the right coaching staff. You're looking at 2 extremely young corners who are athletic as all get up. That really could be shut down and moving forward for this team. So that's kind of the angle I was looking at. But it was interesting to hear what he had to say about Parsons. Sorry, not Parkinson. Parsons, maybe not wanting to drop down that low. So
realistically, I might be hard to find a suitor for the Lions to move back and gain picks because the team that you were really I'm not going to say banking on, but a team that was probably really interested in coming up to that spot to maybe grab a quarterback, they already did. San Francisco when they moved up.
Well, I mean, New England was the team that I was thinking of.
But didn't they re-sign Cam Newton?
Yeah, they just gave him another 1 year, but I mean that's just a stopgap.
Hey, they might go get Jimmy G.
Well, that's another thing. Obviously Garoppolo and Shanahan have fallen out of favor from one another, just like McVay.
Yeah,
McVay and Goff. So there's potential for maybe a release or a trade between them two. But I thought New England might be a team that would want to move up, and it all depends on really what happens at the 4. I think, and I've said it time and time again, the number 4 pick, the Atlanta Falcons pick, will determine the direction of the draft. If they keep their pick, if they take a quarterback. If they trade down, I think there's an opportunity for a lot of teams to maybe look to the Lions if they need a quarterback. Say, hey, what's it worth to you? Because Atlanta, will they take a quarterback? If they take a quarterback, I think it's just going to go status quo. I think it's just you're not going to have a lot of movement within those first 10 picks. And like you said, you could put 20 players on that dartboard and just blindfold throw a dart at it, and I don't think you could go wrong.
I'm multitasking right now. I have my phone down. I'm watching one of George Jackson from the OC's auctions right now.
Hip hip.
Yeah, hip hip hooray. But no, it was cool that Dave came on and was able to kind of shed a little bit of light from his side. Safe travels to him on his way to the draft,
down to Seatown,
down to Cleveland. So anyway,
but yeah, I mean, this draft is loaded. I mean, I think you're going to get players that are going to be significant, maybe even the 2nd and 3rd round. And we talked last night about Etienne, possibly could fall out of the 1st round, or you got Najee Harris that, you got big studs.
I still think he's going to go to Pittsburgh.
Well, it'd be a perfect fit.
Yeah, because
a big bruiser like that.
His running style is that of Pittsburgh.
Oh, absolutely.
They haven't had a runner like that since the bus.
No, but I mean, who's the kid that they got there from right now? Their running back. I can't. He went to Pitt. His name escapes me, but he's been a pretty good player. He's had issues with health with knees. But yeah, I mean, Najee Harris, I mean, I think he definitely fits that mold of a Pittsburgh in the trenches. He's going to bowl you over, kind of a running back, and he's good out of the backfield catching passes. So, and Roethlisberger is going to need that because he can't throw the ball more than 5 yards. So, I think they're going to be dependent upon having a running back that can catch the ball out of the backfield, and clearly they're going to need a tight end because I don't think the Eric Ebron will be there. I think they shipped him out after 1 year, which he wore out his welcome really quick.
Well,
he did here.
He's wore his welcome out pretty much everywhere he's gone.
Number one, he's got a really bad attitude. And number two, he's 50-50 whether he's going to catch the ball, which that kind of has followed him his whole career.
Yep.
So yeah, but yeah, it was great having him on and getting a perspective. But
maybe I'll try to reach out to him maybe a couple of weeks after the draft, and
that'll be fun.
Maybe we can sit back and digest that a little bit.
For sure.
But he's like me, busy as hell because both of his kids are active in sports, and he's a local South Lyon guy, so that's nice. So it's nice
from the mean streets.
Yeah, it's nice having him on.
Which I didn't know that. I did not know that until you. So about a month ago, they talked about it earlier. Rich was in line trying to get baseball cards, and he sends me a text and he says, "Yeah, I'm in line with Dave Birkett." And of course, my first response to him was, "Get him on the show." And he's like, "I'm not going to ask him that." And
but hold on, let's go back here. So he's actually a neighbor to a friend of mine. So
well,
So I mean, I've this is not the first time we went up here. He was like, "Hey, Rich. Hey, Dave. How you doing?" as he was typing up a piece on his phone because of the trade that happened with San Francisco moving up to 3.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, he goes, "Give me a minute, man. I'm in the middle of something." He's over there feverishly typing away, and he was writing an article for Freep at the time. And we're standing in line waiting for basketball cards for our kids.
Yeah. So the response to me was, "Oh, I'm not going to ask him. He's too busy, this and that." And then about an hour later, he's like, "Yeah, we were talking, and he's going to come on the show."
Yeah, he's a good dude. He is a good dude. His son, on a couple of occasions, has been the bat boy at my older son's baseball games, where they give him a little jersey, they give him the batting helmet, and he goes out there and fetches the bats and brings it back in. So it's pretty cool.
That's fun.
So anyway, really not much more on the forefront, but I do want to talk about the Red Wings for a little bit because, as we all know, we talked that the Wings absolutely fleeced the Capitals. And you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, as it looks right now, in my personal opinion, the longevity of the trade, the Wings won because
you get a first and a second,
and Verana scored,
and then
4 goals.
Verana.
He scored 4 goals the other night,
and he's got 6 since he's been a Red Wing.
Yeah, and I really think that it's kind of one of those things. I think Eisman did his homework on him, and he may have been targeting him. You know what? This is the guy I want to get. He realized that the guy really doesn't get a lot of opportunity in Washington because they are an absolute stacked team.
Yeah.
And one day we'll have Eric back on and we'll talk some hockey with Eric. But I mean, they're just an absolutely stacked team, and I think he is getting more of an opportunity to play meaningful minutes.
Right. I
with
mean,
the Red Wings.
He's on the ice. I mean, he's skating with their first team, it seems. But yeah, we talked about it the other day as far as his effectiveness here. He's getting noticed here because of the fact that he comes to a team where there's a lot of young guys and there's a lot of opportunity. Yeah. When you're mixed in with Ovechkin and Backstrom and some of those guys, you're on the fourth line. You're only getting 9-10 minutes a game, and
he come here, he can get 15,
and
20.
He's showing it, and he's showing that when you give the man the opportunity, he's making it count. So the thing that scares me about, I'd like to see him here long term. He is a restricted free agent at the end of this year, and I do believe that Yzerman brought him here with the thought that he could maybe get a deal done. And frankly, if I'm Jacob or Jakob Verana, I'd want to be here in a rebuilding situation. The team can rely on him.
He already has a ring.
Yeah, I mean, he could be a big piece of this team moving forward. So I really hope that they target him as far as long-term goes. And, with Yzerman, I believe in the Yzer plan, and this trade deadline only cemented that opinion even more.
Yeah, I'm looking at this thing. It's the Sporting News record book of 1936 with Hank Greenberg on the front. I don't need it. But I'm looking at it.
Put it away.
I
Put
know.
it away.
I know. I bought like 70 cards the other day on an auction. So, but I got some good ones.
Yeah, sure.
I got some. I got a couple Herberts. I got a couple. I got Herbert's a card to collect right now. So I got a couple Herberts, I got a couple Trouts, got a couple Harpers, Harper rookies, stuff like that.
Nice.
My kids like those, so
yeah. Well, and unfortunately, the kids have kind of missed out on the collectability of cards because of the craze of the grown ass men going after Pokemon cards.
Well, no, it's not even that they're going after the Pokemon cards. The thing is these guys. Okay, as a kid, every Friday, I used to have to get progress reports home every Friday. Every teacher had to fill out my progress report. I'd bring that progress report home. My parents would look at it and say, "Hey, good job. Get in the car, drive up to the hobby shop." My parents would allow me to get 2 packs of cards. Do you know how much 2 packs of cards were back then?
$4.
No, less.
Yeah.
This was 1980. 9.90,
like a buck a pack, $1.50 a pack.
They were 50 cents a pack.
Okay, the tops.
No, I'd get Opeachy. I'd get hockey, so I'd get
okay.
Opeachy. So I'd get 2 packs. It cost me a whole $1. That was like my reward for the week. And you got guys out there right now. They look like they live in their fucking mom's basement.
Well, I'm sure they do.
They sound like they live in their mom's basement, and they are buying these boxes of cards, and they're turning around and selling them on eBay, Facebook Marketplace. So I was there Friday. I got a box of football select cards, and I got a hanger box of basketball Prism. It cost me a grand total of $47 with tax. Those same boxes they were selling for $150 a piece at a local store.
It's unbelievable.
I'm like, I just can't do it. No, I just can't do it. So kids can't even do it anymore.
They're marking them up 3 to 4 times.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And how many cards are in a pack?
The football one, there's only 4 in a pack.
Jesus.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So,
but it's wild.
So
tune into the OC.
Yeah, OC on Tuesday night. Yeah,
yep.
Tuesday night it was going to be the OC. So anyway, with that being said, we really didn't have much to talk about today because we just kind of been just jam busy with activities going on and everything like that. But we did want to take a stop, talk about the Lions a little bit today, and from there on out, you got
draft. So we're still contemplating. Maybe depends on where we're at on Thursday. Maybe doing a live stream while the draft's happening. But we're going to try and get in here and do a show on Wednesday, kind of do a little recap of what we think might happen. I'm sure there'll be some breaking news, maybe some trades along the way between now and then. It's always a hot stove between right at the start of the draft.
Exactly.
But we'll get in here on Wednesday, maybe Thursday, and give you guys some more information, and so we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll do it up. So anyway. So with that being said, I want you to have a good one, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Easy Speak at Speakeasy 330. You can catch us every week at ilogicmedia.com, Apple, and Spotify. Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Easy Speak Cast for the latest and up-to-date news. Cheers.